I want to introduce you to a medicine that could lower your blood pressure, improve your heart health, reduce your risk of diabetes, help you sleep better, boost your mood, strengthen your bones, and possibly help you live longer. Now, what if I told you that medicine was free, right? No prescription, no insurance approval, no prior authorization, as they call it. You know what it is? It's called movement. And in this episode of the If You Are My Brothers podcast, we're going to talk about how exercise can save your life. We'll be back in a second. Welcome back. I'm your host for the If You Are My Brothers podcast. I'm Reggie Hicks, and we want to welcome everyone watching on YouTube and Facebook, LinkedIn, and also those listening on your favorite podcast platforms. And remember to like, share, subscribe, and engage. It all helps the algorithm, but more importantly, it helps get the message of taking people from health awareness to health action. And that's why we're here, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. Now, you can also support our health action efforts with your tax-deductible contribution. We've got several ways for you to give. And you see there on the screen, we've got a QR code for you there. You can also visit our website at ifyouaremybrothers.org, and you can even mail us a check. So, a number of ways for you to engage with us and also support our efforts. And we appreciate you in advance for that. Now, throughout this Men's Health Month here in June series, we've covered annual physicals, heart health, and lifestyle medicine. And in this, the final episode of our series, we're bringing it all together as we tackle exercise as medicine with our guest, Paige Jones. Now, Paige is assistant manager of the Piedmont Atlanta Fitness Center here in Atlanta, obviously, and an exercise physiologist with more than 20 years of experience helping people improve their health through movement. Longtime athlete and fitness enthusiast, Paige is committed to enriching the lives of others through exercise. He believes that staying active is one of the best investments we can make in our health and well-being. He holds an advanced certifications from the American College of Sports Medicine and the National Strength and Conditioning Association, and specializes in helping people of all ages improve their quality of life through practical, sustainable fitness strategies. Through his work in healthcare and fitness, Paige helps people prevent and manage chronic diseases, improve strength and mobility, and lead healthier and more fulfilling lives. And Paige, thank you so much for joining us. And again, as I always say, full transparency, Paige is the manager of the place where I go to get in shape. As you can see, I see Paige all the time when I'm there. And I just thought it would be great to Paige to end our four-part series talking about movement, talking about what you guys push a lot at the fitness center, which is exercise as medicine. That's how I really got involved with it from the very beginning. And talking about that, about exercise being medicine, you often work at the intersection of healthcare and fitness. Why do you believe exercise is one of the most powerful forms of medicine today?
Reggie, thank you for having me on the podcast, man. I think exercise, there's no pharmaceutical that can do what exercise can do for us. We're talking about the dilation and relaxation of your arteries, right? We're talking about sensitizing your body to the use of its own internal insulin as well as external insulin. We're talking about improving your strength, improving your stamina, improving your sleep, improving your love life, helping you to manage stress and to be more resilient. I don't think that there's a pharmaceutical that can do that.
Right.
And it like you said in the beginning, it's free, and the fact that it's grossly underutilized is just really concerning for folks like me.
And I think there's a lot of things out there, Paige, that when you go online and you see all the advertisements about things that can help you in fitness, the fitness industry I know is a big deal. It makes a lot of money. What would you say are some of the misconceptions that are out there? And also, I'd like you to specifically speak to something that's just kind of popped up here over the last maybe year or so, and that's this whole Tai Chi phenomenon, where we're starting on Monday, you stick with us for a month, and you're going to end up with a six pack. So that's one thing that I see all the time, but I'm sure there are other misconceptions that people see, and if you're watching this right now, that you may even be doing some of these doing some of these things.
Yeah, so I think the biggest misconception, the biggest lie, especially men that we've heard is you just need to work out. You don't need to go to the doctor. You don't need to watch what you're eating. You don't need to take care of yourself. We legitimately think that we can outwork a bad diet, and
Ah,
this doesn't work that way. And I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I'm
right.
100%. But I've been acquitted, thankfully, and I've got right. So
Right, right.
we think that, oh, well, I'm going to bike, or I'm going to go run, or I'm going to go walk, or I'm going to go to the gym and pump some iron and things of that nature. And so you think, yeah, I'm going to get my fried chicken, or I'm going to get my
Right,
this, that, and the other, right? And so I
right.
think one of the biggest misconceptions is, while it's a healthy behavior, it does not excuse these unhealthy habits, which it's going to create space and it's going to create room. Make no mistake,
Hmm.
the person who bikes 20 miles and eats the Hershey bar is going to respond physiologically better than the person who eats the Hershey bar and has not biked at all. But as you matriculate through the years, your physiology is going to catch up with you, and your habits are not going to be in a place to support these changes that your body are now telling you, right? So
Right,
I just think that one of the biggest misconceptions is we can outwork a bad diet, and we don't really have to take care of ourselves because we're just working out. You ain't got to go to the doctor. You don't have to get your labs drawn. Just go to the gym. I think that's a big
right.
lie. I think that's a big lie. Now, in terms of your Tai Chi question, I'm not privy to this. I've not tuned in. Maybe I'm in my bubble is pretty narrow, but anything that sounds too good to be true from a fitness standpoint is, and like I said earlier, I believe that this type of thing is capitalism at its best. I mean, the goal
Hmm.
necessarily to get you the results to help you to become healthier. They're not doing it for any altruistic reason of, I really want your well-being to be intact. I think they're just trying to sell you something, sell you a program.
Yeah, and I think they to your point, they start out saying it's free, and if you do this, and then it kind of draws you in, and next thing you know, you're paying for a subscription of some kind. And I like what you said about, so if I eat a pizza, and so I eat a pizza on Thursday and I go to the gym on Friday. Sometimes the mentality is, okay, I'm just going to work this pizza off. And so what you're saying is that's
No.
not that's not how it works, right?
No, no, no. That's not how it works. And I can just tell you, as a fitness professional, and as a man who was in his 20s and in his 30s, and who was a runner and an athlete and all these things, and I've matriculated into my 40s, and I looked at my lipid panel and I was like, wait a minute, hold on, but I do like that.
Right.
Hold on, you mean I have to? Yes, you have to. So the answer is absolutely yes. When none of us are exempt.
Yeah. So when you're in the gym, and I know, I will say, where I go is really great, because a lot of people that are in the gym are my age or older. Most of the people, a lot of them, in the classes that you have are for seniors. Um, but just overall, when it comes to men in particular, what do you hear as far as maybe the number one excuse, and how do you respond to that? Now, the number one excuse is where you hear why men can't exercise or they don't, or man, I just, and how do you respond to that? Because I know you hear it.
Oh yes, sir, all the time. I think the number one excuse is time. People say, well, well, I have this or I have that, or or some sort of physical ailment where, oh, my shoulder. Well, your legs are in perfect working order, but your shoulder, right?
Right.
Oh,
Right.
knee, but your upper body's perfectly fine, right? And so for a person with a can-do attitude like me, I'm just like, you can do something, my brother. You absolutely can do something. So time is the biggest thing. So how do I respond to that? I try to dig a little bit deeper into what does your life, what does your day look like? Because at the end of the day, I feel like you're not ready to change. There's a behavioral model of change,
Hmm.
change model, and there's pre-contemplation, there's contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, and relapse. And
Mm.
you know you need to do it, but you're contemplating, or you should be doing it, but don't tell me that I need to do it. You're in pre-contemplation. So you're just not there yet. You're not sick and tired of being sick and tired. You're not disgusted with yourself enough to where the hesitation of the new is going to be it's going to overshadow. The hesitation of the new is greater than the fear of the old. Letting
Right.
go
It's
of the
going to outweigh. Yeah.
it's going to
Yeah.
out. Yeah. So it's just yeah, it's time, and they're just not ready to change. And I think they just need to be honest with themselves about that.
And if somebody's watching now and they're in the contemplation, they're kind of getting to that, I'm
Mhm.
going to do it, and now I'm ready to do it, and I'm heading out to, I don't know, one of the fitness places where everybody's, like young and in shape, and they're on the treadmill and they're just moving and they're lifting 300 pounds. Everybody's just, and you say to yourself, why are these people here? Because they're young and they're in shape. But that's normally when we do work out, right? We have the time and we want to, and we've got the energy. So what do you say to someone who's maybe older, hasn't exercised in years, and kind of feels maybe embarrassed about getting back into shape? I'm going in, I got my pot belly, I'm moving slow. Um, I just kind of feel out of place. What do you say to that person?
Why are you here? Why are you
Mm.
how like why exactly are you here? Because if you are thinking about the others, you're going to miss out on the reason that you showed up. Because when you focus on the others, you should all over yourself. I should. You should all over. Don't should on
Hmm.
yourself. And,
I
and
like
that's
that.
I got that from a great speaker and author who was in a networking group of mine.
Hmm.
Um, so you start shitting on yourself and you think, well, that he's muscular and I should be doing that, and she's doing this. So what I say to that person is, why are you here and how can we help you safely accomplish that? And let's focus on the goal, because we all have a thing, a fitness personality. We all have a goal or something that we're aspiring
Hmm.
towards. And we have to narrow in on exactly why we're doing what we're doing. Are you trying to escape? Have you had a hard day? Are you trying to read your book and pedal the bike? Are you trying to get stronger because you've been diagnosed with prostate cancer and you're trying to
Right.
build muscle before you go through some testosterone deprivation therapy, right?
Right.
Are you there because you're a newly diagnosed diabetic and your A1C is high, and now you're trying to sensitize your body to insulin, right? Like, why are you there? Are you there because I have this 5-year-old granddaughter I'm going to see at Christmas and I want to be able to pick her up, but I can't right now?
Mm.
Why are you?
Hmm.
That's the person. That's what I would say to the person who's embarrassed is your embarrassment is not as big as you think it is. I think your goal is much more important.
Right. Focus on why you're there. Don't worry about the surroundings and everybody else. And to be honest with you, I really, at one time, and I've gone to different gyms, and I've gone to gyms where younger people are there. And of course, I said, like, your facility is a little different because you have, a good number of older people.
Mhm.
But even then, I noticed that everybody's kind of in their own group, particularly now with, the head canceling, I mean, noise canceling headphones, and nobody's really paying any attention to you because everybody's trying to do their thing.
Exactly.
And at first, when I started working out, I was a little bit sensitive to that. A little, I was like, I don't know. I mean, yeah. But then I noticed that folks ain't, they ain't worried about me. I better worry about me. And so, just focus, to your point, focus on why you're there.
Hmm.
And talking about some of the older people that are trying to get back in shape, maybe I know the boomers we tend to not want to give it up. We want to continue to work. We want to continue we just won't consider ourselves seniors, even though we are. I'm just saying, it's just hard to even say that you're a senior citizen. We're not, we're not owning that.
Mhm.
So what did you say to somebody who is in their 60s and 70s and even beyond? And what have you seen? Have you seen older people actually, transition into change their physiology, change? Have you been able to see that in older people? Because a lot of folks say, I'm older, I'm nothing can change, my belly's going to stay the same, I'm not going to look any different, I'm not going to lose any weight. Can you give me some success stories that you've seen?
So I'm going to start with a success story from our facility,
Hmm.
by a young man. He's a young man in his 70s. He just told me this yesterday at work. He said, Paige, he named his class. He said, it
Hmm.
works. He said, my ejection fraction, which is the percentage of blood that's pumped out of your heart with each beat, he said it was 45%. And a little over a year of coming to this class, it is now up to 77%.
Mm.
So that touched me as as an exercise physiologist, that his risk of cardiovascular disease has now gone down, that his heart is significantly stronger. So that's just one success story. Now, one that's on the internet that I like to tell people about, does the name Ernestine Shepherd mean anything to you?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Is she like 90 or something? Or
Like approaching 90, she didn't start lifting weights and working out until she was 55 years old, and she became, I think, a Guinness World Record holder for being the oldest competitive female bodybuilder out there. And I mean, and this woman was like
wow,
teaching fitness classes in her 80s, and she looked amazing. I mean, she wasn't
I've
fine,
seen
fine. Like she looked great,
it.
right? Like she
Right.
was amazing. So yeah, she's definitely a success story.
Yeah. So if you're coming in, and many listeners, they think they may need to spend hours in the gym.
Mhm.
What's kind of the minimum effective dose of exercise, if you will, for someone looking to improve their health? And in particular, let me talk about this belly thing
Mhm.
that doesn't seem to want to do anything. I mean, it just, crunches and all that other stuff. First of all, it hurts my back, but secondly, it's like it's always there. It won't go away. I don't get it.
Okay. So, minimum effective dosage. If you're just looking to improve your health, 15. If you're inactive, if you're a couch potato, doing 15 minutes is going to do a world of good for you. Walking, stretching, yoga, Pilates, your funny Tai Chi that's going to make all the promises. Anything that's going to get you active and moving for 15 minutes is going to make an impact for those who are completely sedentary. Now, if you have a baseline level of fitness, the needle actually moves. The current internal state of the person working
Hmm.
out is going to determine what the response is going to be to the dose of exercise. And so, most of my personal training clients are 30 minutes, and some people that I'll get in, they'll be new. They'll say, "Well, is 30 minutes really enough?" There's an inverse relationship between time and intensity. And what happens with a lot of people, you said it's not going away. What happens with a
Hmm.
lot of people is they confuse the amount of time they're spending in the gym with working hard enough to actually achieve the goal that they're reaching for, right?
Hmm.
And so the time is going to depend. I mean, the answer is it depends as far as the minimum effective dosage, right? So if you're on the treadmill at 2 miles an hour and your goal is to burn 500 calories, you're going to be on there a while. But if you're on that same treadmill at 8 miles an hour, 500 calories is going to come a whole lot quicker. It's going to come 4 times faster. And so what that minimum effective dosage is will depend upon, like I said earlier, your goals, but then
Hmm.
also like what is your internal state? Like, do you have a baseline level of fitness? Are you a couch potato? Are you fairly advanced? And what then is your capacity to do work? And then your capacity to do work is going to determine what you need. So for anyone, I say 30 minutes. When I work out, I mean it's 30 to 45 tops. After that, I'm wasting time and scrolling my phone. So
Mm.
yeah.
You're right. So it sounds to me like, um, if you're starting out,
Hmm.
and I think what you guys do are great, because we sit down, with one of your instructors, the physiologist. They take measurements. They talk to us about what our goals are, what issues that we might have. Like I got a bad, I can't do a lot of squats because my knees are bad. And so then we go and we go to the different machines and the different exercises to really kind of build out a program. Um, how important is that? Because, and you all are special in that. I mean, as far as really working with me to make sure, and then we do it periodically, right? Your birthday, you have different times that you do this. What about other places? Because I've been members at other gyms, and after they get you to sign on a dotted line, that's kind of it, unless you want to pay for a personal trainer, and even that's kind of iffy. So if you don't have what you have at Piedmont, the Piedmont Fitness Center, what can you do to really make sure that you're on the right track when you start? And maybe it's not even that you're trying to do this at home and you don't have a fitness center that you're going to. What should you do to get started?
Okay, so that's a loaded question. And if you don't
Yeah, it
mind,
took me a little time to get there, but
no. If it's okay, I'm going to briefly backtrack. You mentioned belly fat and you mentioned set, and I don't think that I addressed that for you. So we tend to think that our abdominal muscles are in charge of our abdominal fat, leg muscles in
Mhm.
charge of leg fat, etc.
Right.
And really, it doesn't work that. That's called spot reduction, and spot reduction is not a thing. That's not how our physiology was made. And so the calories in, calories out, creating a caloric deficit, all of those things that I think most of us are familiar with. That's kind of where it is. And so as we strength train and as we do the aerobic exercise and as we create a state where our body becomes much more efficient at burning calories, even while we're at rest, that's when we start moving the needle and start seeing that belly go away, because that visceral fat, that belly fat, is what's going to be a little bit more risky in terms of cardiovascular disease, metabolic
Hmm.
disease, that nature, right? So using exercise as a utility is going to be important, and then it's going to be time and intensity. How hard are you working? How many calories are you burning, and things of that nature. So starting where you are, and then kind of generally and gently ramping up. Now, to your point of, if someone doesn't have a Piedmont Fitness Center, if you don't have an exercise physiologist, what do you do?
Hmm.
Um, there's a lot that you can do. So let's say you're a novice. Let's say you really don't know anything. Credible.
Right.
What's a credible source? The American College of Sports Medicine. I'm certified through them. The National Strength and Conditioning Association. They have free resources on their website. One more organization, the American Council on Exercise. They have really great resources for the public in terms of physical activity guidelines. If you go to the CDC's website, they partner with the American College of Sports Medicine, and they publish national physical activity guidelines for all Americans. And
Hmm.
it's 150 minutes of moderate to intense movement throughout the week, which translates into 30 minutes 5 times a week.
Okay.
So that's the baseline, right? Like that's where you start. And then if you dig into those guidelines a little bit more, they're going to tell you to do strength training twice a week. It's going to tell you to do flexibility, once or twice a week as well. So that's the baseline as far as getting started. If you need guidance, find a medical fitness center if you have one in your area. The staff at a medical fitness center are different. We are not cereal box personal trainers, as we tend to call them. These are people with bachelor's and master's degrees. These are people who
Hmm.
care about the well-being of the people that they serve, and they're not trying to make you get a PR on a squat or a deadlift, right? They're here to
Right.
try to help you live longer and live stronger, and to do those things that you can't physically do right now. So the purpose of an exercise physiologist is to bring movement to you in a way that it can be applied as a medicine to add value to your lives. Like that's ultimately what we're there to do. And so whether you have a chronic disease, whether you are an elite athlete, we're able to adjust and be agile enough to make it work for you as the person, as the client, so, and the patient.
Do you think that in learning, one thing I've kind of learned about in doing different exercises, how important it is to do them correctly,
Yes.
um, is using the internet, using YouTube to kind of, or the videos, is that a helpful way to kind of, if you don't have a trainer, if you can't get to the gym, is that a pretty good, in the resources that you mentioned, are there videos or to give examples on how to do some of the exercises?
I think YouTube University is a really amazing resource. It really
Mm,
is. And I think it's the way of the world now. I can't tell you the number when I'm on the floor training, the number of people that I see working out and following someone on their phone.
mhm.
Uh, it is the way of the world now, and the amount of resources out on YouTube and online are absolutely amazing, and you can find good resources out there. Chair fitness. I know there's a chair fitness resource that I've come across that's really good for most people. Now, do those organizations that I mentioned offer videos on their websites? I believe they all have a YouTube channel, and I believe they do offer
Right.
some level of tutorial and things that you can
Okay.
follow and kind of baseline things, right? But
Mhm.
I also realize that those are kind of cookie cutter, right? They're kind of generalized for the person. They're not personalized and prescriptive for you, the individual, because you know for you it may be great, but for the next person it may cause injury. So that's
Right,
why it's
right.
important to get it personalized and for someone to look at how you move and to do the exercise correctly, because we all are different in terms of our flexibility. We're different in terms of how we our movement patterns. So that has to be assessed and looked at.
Now you mentioned the young lady, the young, I'd say young, but she's almost in her 90s. Excuse me, and she's doing weight training. How important is weight training, in particularly as you get older, in your routine?
So, in thinking about this question, like ahead of this interview,
Hmm.
it's just as important as our investment account. I think we understand the rule of 72. I think we understand that the younger we start, the better off we're going to be later in life in terms of compound interest and your interest gaining interest. But
Right.
I think we tend to think, oh well, once you hit 40 or once you hit 50, you really got to focus. And I think we need to turn that up on its head, because something that I believe is that we have that there should be a high level of decline. Sarcopenia, which is the age-related loss of muscle mass, that's coming
Hmm.
for all of us. And once we hit age 30, I believe the percentage is 1% or per year or per decade that we start losing in muscle mass. If we don't do something to retard that loss, like that muscle loss and that bone loss is going to be accelerated in the presence of physical inactivity past
Hmm.
age 30, unless we actually do something to retard it. And so, because it's coming for all of us, because we are going to age and we are going to decline, and there are going to be changes that are coming for our body, which, despite our best efforts, with weights and exercise and the whole thing, it's going to happen. And so, my attitude is, if you're going to decline, you might as well decline from a very high level. If you're going to be old, you might as well be old and buff, right?
Right.
You
Yeah.
might as well
Yeah.
hold them, right? So I think it's very, very important to build a reserve of strength that begins as a young person, and you matriculate through it, safely and wisely over the years, so that when you get into your older years, you have the strength that you need and the mobility that you need to carry the heavy things, to climb with the heavy things, to pick up the kids, to do all of the things that you want, so that when you go on vacation, or when you a cruise, and there's a side quest or an adventure or something, that you don't have to say no because of the physical demands of the adventure.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
you so the demands that life throws at you, you can meet those demands. And so that I think that's why having strength is really, really important as we age, because as Dr. Gabrielle Lyon says, it's the organ of longevity.
Yeah. I agree. I think that, a lot of times as we get older, we talk about retiring and traveling, and I think people forget that when you go and you travel to Europe. I remember going to Greece and staying in a place, I swear you had to go up 100 steps to get to the lobby. It was built in the side of, a mountain, because
Exactly.
all the things are on a cliff, right? So I'm
Right.
like, I said, where's the elevator? The elevator will take you down and maybe eliminate 20 of those steps.
Mhm.
Everything else you had to walk. And I remember one person in the group was saying my husband wanted to come, but he couldn't come because he knew he could not walk these, take these stairs.
Exactly.
And so, and that could be a motivator too, as far as getting, I mean, it's been a motivator for me here recently, knowing that I'm going on a trip. It's going to be a lot of walking. So I need to go ahead and start kind of, getting back in the swing of things. Um, you mentioned about, you said that the muscles, after a while, 1% as you get older,
Mhm.
if you hadn't worked out in a while, and you're in your 60s, is that something that you can slow down or stop even if you're in your 60s, like, starting to get back into, weightlifting and those kinds of things? Can you slow that down even at 60 years old?
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Muscles don't know age; they know use and disuse. And
Mm,
and I believe that was Dr. He's a PhD, Dr. Lynn Kravitz, I believe, from the University of New Mexico, an ACSM conference that I went to many years ago. Muscles don't know age; they know use and disuse. So there's a thing called muscular hypertrophy, and hypertrophy is the increase in muscle size. And so, whether you're 20 or whether you're 70 or 60, if you get involved in the process, you can hypertrophy your muscle and make your muscle mass grow a little bit by providing the proper stimulus. You're going to increase your bone density. You're going to increase your muscle with that. And the answer is yes, that you can. So, there are more considerations because of the environment, because now you're a little more stiff, right? You're a little more
right,
stiff. Maybe you're not used to it,
right.
but you can build a baseline of strength. And going back to the investment and compound interest example, like your interest gains interest, your gains get gains. And so I think you can. So if you start wisely, progressively overload safely and wisely over time, then the answer is yes, you can absolutely do that. And Ernestine Shepherd is a prime example to demonstrate that it can be done.
Oh, wow, great, great. No, so let's talk about exercise and weight loss,
Okay.
because I think a lot of people, specifically when they go to the gym, older folk in particular, first thing we want to do is, Paige, I want to lose some weight. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to lose 30 pounds. And so they immediately want to go into this mode of weight loss. But at particularly at an older age, let's say 60 plus, that's a part of it. But is it more important to maybe look at overall health and heart health and those kinds of things, as opposed to trying to lose weight? And I have to ask you this, because I've asked all my guests during this June Men's Health Month. Um, Maybe I should just take the shot or take the pill and the GLP ones. Um, h- how do I wrap my mind around all of that? We got exercise, we've got the shot. I want to lose weight. I'm not worried about my heart health. I just want to, and I know that's all going to help in the end, but maybe that's not what I should be focusing on initially.
Ooh, that's
I
that's
know
that's
it's
lo-
a lot.
that's a lot, Reggie, and that's loaded.
That's a
So,
lot.
um, weight loss and GOP ones. So, unfortunately, the world has created this resource that now allows people to get the skinniness, if you will, that they've so desired. And what's the
Right.
cost? And the cost of this societal pressure to be small or to be skinny or to be thin. That cost is going to be studied, and it's going to be counted. But what we already know is people are getting weaker. They're getting skinnier on these GLP ones, but they're getting weaker. They're losing their bone density, and healthcare claims for bone density loss drugs and DEXA scans and things of that nature are going up, because while they're losing weight, their bones are getting more brittle, and now they're becoming weak and they're needing more physical therapy. So there's a trade off, and I love the quote that there are no solutions, only trade offs. So
Right.
and now you have celebrities, professional athletes promoting these things
Yeah.
as well, right? Which
Yeah.
which makes which makes it significantly harder for the consumer to differentiate between, should I be doing it? I mean, well, he's doing it, she's doing it,
Right.
and
Right.
they're a celebrity, right? So I just say take a measure of caution in terms of weight loss, in terms of these drugs, simply because number one, you don't know if you can tolerate it. In our lifestyle medicine program at Piedmont Healthcare, which is run through our south side of the city,
Mm-hmm.
um, our providers are encountering patients who get on these drugs, get on these shots, and can't tolerate them
Mm.
for GI discomfort or for whatever reason. Then they have to get off, and then they also get referred to our lifestyle medicine, the dietitian, the exercise physiologist, the nurse, and everything. So you number one, you may not be able to tolerate it, and number two, if you can tolerate it, like you can't come off of it. And
Right.
I don't know how you feel about that, Reggie, but I'm a person who doesn't like to depend upon any type of pill or drug like every single day. Now, and it was a massive move for me to take an allergy pill for my Georgia allergies every day.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
I had to like talk myself into that. Um, but my wife, she laid down a hammer
She's
and
probably, yeah,
I
seeing you
got
in agony. Say, look,
yeah.
just take it. It'll be bad.
Exactly. I got none. So here's the thing: are you always going to be on these pills, on these drugs? Are you okay with the cost of shelling that out for the rest of your life for the sake of being skinny? Because it's just going to make you not want to eat. And is that a sustainable lifestyle? And for some people, the societal pressure, the weight loss, the wanting to be thinner, it's a whole big thing that needs to be addressed and needs to be discussed. But I just say take a measure of caution. I'm not a fan because of the strength loss. I'm not a fan because of the muscle loss. Because when you lose your muscle, you lose your metabolism. You lose
Mm.
capacity. You lose your vitality. You're not hungry, and
Mm-hmm.
you're staying thin. But do you really look the way you want to look?
How do
And
you feel?
and how do you
Right.
exactly? And how do you feel? And do you feel strong? Do you feel vital? Right?
Okay. Yeah. Right.
In terms of exercise and weight loss, right? Like so going to the gym and wanting
Mm-hmm.
to always lose weight. That's what it is. You're not necessarily over fat or overweight as you may think you are. There's a quote that I came across not too long ago, and I love this one. It said, "The body that you want is heavier than you think, and it definitely has more muscle than you currently have." So the way people want to look is, you
Mm-hmm.
know, never mind the weight. The way you want to look is probably heavier than you think, and it has a lot to do with building muscle. So you're not overweight. Maybe you just need to build more muscle, right?
Right.
Maybe
Right.
maybe you need to get stronger and to focus on your overall well-being. Like, how's your energy levels? How's your sleep? Right? How's your stamina? Can you take the vacation and do all of the stairs? Right? Can
Mm-hmm.
can can you travel with the family? I have a client, and in this room right here, I actually do train people out of this room. I have a 79-year-old woman. This is another success story. Back to that earlier question,
Mm-hmm.
who I've been working with. What is this? June. I've been working with her since last August.
Okay.
Recently took a trip to Ohio for an Ohio State graduation. And after that trip, I received a text message from her daughter. Her daughter said, "Paige, whatever you're doing, keep doing it." She said, "My mother was climbing the stairs in that stadium. My mother was moving and
Mm.
slowing us down. My mother was doing." I mean, and it was very, very clear that she's been putting in work. Whatever you thank you for keeping my mom healthy and strong. Like that, you don't get that from a GLP-1. You just
Right.
don't. You get the size you want, but you don't get the other things that you also desire, but you cannot get unless you actually put in the time and the effort. It's just
Now,
so chasing skinny is not the goal. Chasing healthy is the goal, and
it
but
is a goal.
is the goal. But anyway, I've gone on long enough.
No. I do. You have people um in the gym that are on that and still trying to work out aggressively and is
Yes,
that working for them, or is it kind of like,
it is
are they
work.
experiencing, like you said, that they're not able to do what they thought they would be able to do even with the weight loss?
Yes. The answer is yes. I know three of our members at
Hmm.
Piedmont who are on it. Two of which are coming back to the gym because their providers are saying you've got to get back.
Good. Right.
You've lost weight, but you've got to get back your strength, right? Your strength. And the other one is a long term client of mine. He's in his 60s.
Hmm.
And he's a strong guy, and he's lifted weights a lot over the years, and he's a runner, all the things, and
Right.
and, and he's lost the weight on the GLP-1, but he's also trying to work out aggressively, like you said, to try to
Hmm.
maintain strength, and he's maintaining his strength, and it's literally an experiment for me and him because
Yeah.
me training someone on a GLP-1, these things are new, and I have a client who's on it, right? So
Right.
it's legitimately an experiment, and the thing that he tells me is, I'm just not hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Just not hungry, and so I'm doing my best to keep him safe, to help him keep his muscle mass, and
Right.
which I appreciate that he's still trying to do that. So it's a big experiment for us all.
Right. Right.
People are trying to do the best they can.
Well, I have to admit that confess I was on this crazy diet. It was a part of a promotion at a radio station where I worked, and you took some things. I'm not sure they were herbal, but they kind of satiated your diet, your appetite a little bit. But the key was that you could only take in 1,500 calories every day.
Okay.
And what they told you to do was don't work out during this time because you probably would pass out. And I lost like 20 pounds. But here's the thing. One, when I would file my reports for the promotion, my wife said that it looked like I was, somebody had me in prison or had kidnapped me, or because I looked so, yeah, I was sad. I had no energy. And then when I came off of it, I gained I gained all the weight back plus about 10 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So, I realized that, and for me, I knew that it probably wasn't going to work, but it was a promotion, and I was like, okay. And it was a $2,000 program, and so I was getting it for free, thinking, oh, okay, maybe I can. But it just goes to show you that you really have to take into consideration some of these things that are out there. And at the end of the day, it's really just kind of getting back in and doing the things that you just talked about doing in order to get healthy again. And as we talk about health, this is a prostate cancer awareness. We call it Health Action Podcast. Let's talk about cancer survivorship and energy and strength and overall fitness. What role does exercise play during and after cancer treatment? And I think you all have some actual programs that are for individuals who are going through treatment or maybe coming off of treatment. What's that look like?
We do. We have Cancer Wellness, which is open to all cancer diagnoses. It is a grant funded program through Piedmont that allows people to be referred by their provider into our program to work with an exercise physiologist 3 times a week at our facility. We also have a breast cancer survivor program as well. But the
Mm-hmm.
role of exercise in cancer care is, it's essential, it's vital at this point. Exercise in the presence of radiation or chemotherapy, which causes a massive loss in bone density for our patients and massive losses in
Mm.
muscle mass for our patients as well, and all of this extreme fatigue. And it may seem counterintuitive that aerobic exercise is going to combat fatigue. You have to use energy to make energy. It sounds like a pyramid scheme, but it's not. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like it's real. It's really going to help you to combat fatigue, to do cardio, right? And to do strength building exercises to help you preserve your bones, right? And to preserve your muscle. And because all of those things, they get really attacked. And your immunity is another thing, right? So,
Right.
your T cells, it just really helps with boosting your immunity, boosting your resilience, and then helping to combat the treatment related symptoms that many of our cancer survivors are dealing with. And so the people who have like the lowest incidence of reoccurrence are those who can demonstrate and can show good weight and blood pressure and kind of all of those things, but also high levels of fitness level, or your aerobic capacity has been correlated with all cause mortality. And there's, I believe in, I don't want to quote this incorrectly, like a 30% drop in your risk when you are very fit. And so
That sounds, yeah.
as fitness goes up the spectrum, your risk will decrease. There's an inverse relationship there. So there are all manner of cancer programs. I've heard of the Maple Tree Alliance, which they do cancer exercise programs at different facilities throughout the country as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very vital in terms of the care, and it's something that our oncologists recognize as an essential piece of survivorship and of long-term well-being.
Right. So the key is if you're going through treatment, if you're, of course, check with your physician, but put that on that list of things that you should be doing before, and that's something I try to do before treatment to get your body kind of ready, and then going through it, and then after treatment. Um, Let me ask you. I want to get back to one thing before I let you go. I have one other question. Let's talk about again that visceral fat around your belly. Because what you're saying is that's kind of different than. I mean, doing sit-ups is not really going to affect that. Is it more diet, or tell me what do I need to be doing right now to get to work on this visceral fat that I have around my stomach, and it is there.
Okay. So, two types of fat. Subcutaneous, which is the fat between my skin and my muscle, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Subcutaneous fat. Then there's visceral fat. And the visceral and subcutaneous fat can be all over your body. Visceral fat is the fat that's in between your organs.
Mm.
In between your stomach and your intestine and your liver and all of the things,
Just
right?
sitting all around, yeah.
Right. So if you think about like the anatomy poster and all the things in your midsection, and you think about globs of that yellow mushy stuff in there, right? Like that's metabolically the type of fat that's going to make you more insulin resistant, that's going to make you have higher bad cholesterol, that's going to tend to be more promoting of an inflammatory environment that's going to promote cardiovascular disease and other chronic diseases as well. So that's the fat that we have to be very, very careful of, and that can actually be measured. I believe via a DEXA scan. There's there's those the scales you stand on and
Yeah,
tell you
just
your
sit on, the
yeah,
body fat, BMI.
body
Yeah.
fat scale thing. So there's some of those are advanced enough to kind of give us a score. I know there's a one brand called InBody. They do that. I'm trying to get one for Piedmont, so I hope someone from Piedmont's listening.
Oh,
But,
okay. Right. Well, I'll lobby for it too.
hey, I appreciate it. But yeah, so you can get a visceral fat score. You can actually improve your visceral fat by thinking about your diet. So we're thinking, and I'm not a dietitian, and so I don't want to get any of this incorrectly,
Sure.
but like we're thinking like high protein, low fat. You want to think high fiber, high whole grains. You want to avoid the processed things. You want to
Right.
avoid like the things that are in the middle of the grocery store. You want to shop the perimeter, as they say, right?
Right.
Shop the
Mm-hmm.
perimeter, the produce and the meat and dairy and all of the things. So you want to think. Some people like to go vegetarian or vegan or whole food
Mm-hmm.
based, or everyone has a different perspective and preference there. But dietary wise, it has to be very, very simple, right? Like if you're eating for breakfast, eggs and oatmeal and blueberries or something to that. That's
Right.
basic healthy food, right? And
Right.
versus the egg McMuffin or the thing from the Hardee's or whatever, right? So
Right.
so that's number one is diet. We have to think about healthier options, just really simple things with simple ingredients and that are healthy, and our upbringing is going to influence all of that, right? Like I mean,
Oh yeah.
I was raised by a single dad. I grew up eating the fried chicken from the gas station down the road, and it took some
Mm-hmm.
to unlearn some things. But then from a movement standpoint, it's just really going to be consistently creating a caloric deficit that's going to over time, over the weeks and the months, just start to work and build that down, and you're going to mobilize that fat by creating that caloric deficit. Your body then will start using that stored fat as an energy source because maybe you're not taking in as much food, right? and
Mm-hmm.
and while you might feel hungry and you eat something healthy to satiate yourself and to keep yourself functional throughout the course of your day, your body can still become more efficient. And this is where working with a dietitian one-on-one will come in, and using your health insurance to do such things so that they can prescribe a diet to you that will help you to really feel full, but meet your goal of decreasing your belly fat, decreasing, and then kind of measuring your waist circumference is going to kind of be a good measure, right? Like, what's your pant size? I think our
Mm-hmm.
gym pants and I think our workout clothes, they're great, but the one of the bad things about them is they're stretchy and they don't tell us when things are going wrong. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
They give.
Yeah. So don't trust your scale, trust your jeans. So
Yeah.
stop sweatpants all the time, trust your jeans. So yeah.
So there's no real exercise I can be doing as well. So it's for this visceral, it's the diet.
It's overall, it's your diet. You need to strength train to increase your muscle mass. You increase your muscle mass, you're going to increase your metabolism. You're going to have more metabolically active tissue. Your body will burn
Which
more
will
calories at rest. You're going to do aerobic exercise and you're going to burn a volume of calories. If you exercise cardio aerobically hard enough, 2-3 hours afterwards, your body will continue doing it. You do it the next day, and the cycle keeps repeating, right? So,
Mhm.
like, things that you do for your core are good for your core. They're good for being strong. You can chop wood and carry your heavy suitcase,
Right,
but
right.
it's not going to say, okay, yes, we are burning this belly fat right now. Like the teas and the thing. No, I mean, I'm sure there's probably something to that, but no,
Yeah.
that's not what we recommend. We recommend movement and healthy eating and adequate sleep and adequate
Oh,
sleep. Oh my God,
yes.
adequate
Well, I would look that's gonna be part two.
part.
Of the podcast. I'm thinking a couple of things I want to ask you, and this is something that I think I know the answer to.
Mhm.
Is it better to exercise in the morning or in the afternoon or after work? Before work, after work, does it matter?
It's better to exercise when you will actually do it.
Yeah, that's what I.
So when you will actually do it, and here's why I say that. I have my best friend, my closest friend from college. He's a night owl. This guy
Hmm.
is like, he was in this room one night, 11 p.m. working out, and I'm just like, dude, do you know what time it
The
is?
time it is, right?
Bro, like, come on. Anyway, so it's the time that you will do it, right? So some people are morning people, some people are more night owls. Morning is good because I think most people have found that if I get it out the way first thing,
Wait, yeah,
the the rest of the
rest of
day
the day, right?
interfere with my health activity, right? And so getting it out the way first thing, it's like the rock, it's like the big rocks, little rocks in the sand, like the 7 habits of highly effective people. You start with the big rocks, you put the little rocks, then you put the sand. You start with the sand and the little rocks, and you can't fit the big rocks. So exercise as a big rock started at the front end of your day. The other
Right.
thing for men in terms of doing exercise in the first part of the day in the morning is, I think it's been shown that you get kind of a little bit more of a testosterone boost if you exercise in the morning versus at other times during the day. So that's definitely a thing.
Should you? Obviously, you should probably work out before you. Like, if you do it in the morning, you want to work out before you have breakfast, right? I mean, it's better not to
So
eat before you.
So, I mean, there are a few schools of thought on that. You can work out fasted, and that would be totally fine. I mean, a fasted workout, if you're able to tolerate that, and you're not a diabetic or have any blood sugar
Hmm.
concerns, certainly, I'm a fan of that. But some people are wired such that they can't exercise and not have something in the tank. Some people need,
Right, right.
some people have to feel empty. I'm a person where I need to feel, empty or mostly empty to really work out, because the blood's going to get shunted away from your GI tract and go to your working muscles. And then you can
Hmm.
start nauseous and things of that nature. So it really depends I think it depends on the individual and how they're made. So it can go either way. I've had clients and athletes where it can go either way. So
And if you do eat, so you said something in the tank, you don't have to, like, and I know that you used to say don't go swimming until you, 3 hours after you eat. So
yeah,
if
yeah.
I have breakfast at 8, I want to go to the gym after I eat.
Mhm.
There's no rule of saying, oh, you should wait till, like, 2 hours before you work out necessarily. It just depends on.
Yeah, it depends, because it depends. Okay, what's your speed of digestion? How much water have you consumed? Because if you drink more water, you can speed up digestion, right? If you move a little bit, you can speed up digestion by walking a little bit, right? So
Mhm.
there's no hard and there's no fast rule. It's just What we're trying to avoid is eating, getting into exercise, and then becoming nauseous, because now
Mm-hmm.
blood wants to rest and digest. But now you're saying, no, 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 blood, we're going to these working muscles, and now your GI tract is like, hello, hello, hello,
Right. Yeah.
here. So
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to avoid.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. That was the reason I asked that is my wife and I have that discussion all the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
um now I have some ammunition. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't want to get you in trouble when you
Yeah.
see her. It's like,
I
Paige, you
don't.
told him that.
I don't want her wrath. Sir. No, sir.
I
I don't.
know, right? So let's end with this page, and I really appreciate you taking the time out. I know how busy, we all are, and so if a man is listening and he's committed to one health action in the next 30 days, what should he committed? What should that commitment be, and how can it change his life? I know that's kind of a tough question, just kind of one thing.
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to get started? I mean, if you had to tell somebody.
Do something physically active that you like to do, and do it most days of the week, and do it for at least 30 minutes. Something you love. We all have a fitness personality. If you don't know what your fitness personality is, you have to discover it. But do something physical that you enjoy, and do it most days of the week, and you will feel better. You will just feel better. There's a quote, and I brought this quote. I threw it on my screen just so I can make sure I share it here. And
Okay.
it's by Mark Ripito. He is a strength coach and an author of a strength training book, and it says, um, "Humans are not physically normal in the absence of hard physical effort." And I think our convenient lifestyle has we sit in front of computers for long periods of time, and we then go to the gym to try to be normal, right? So find something you
Right.
love to do it regularly, and rinse and repeat. You're going to feel better, 100%.
All right. Great advice. Great advice. And hopefully I'll see you soon at the gym. I need to get there. I know I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Going on the trip. So you're going to see me next couple of weeks a whole lot.
Okay.
Um, but thank you, Paige, for joining us. I appreciate all that you do, and you and your team. I mean, you got some great folk that work with you and keeping us all healthy. So thank you again. We'll have to have you come back on, and we can do that part 2.
Sounds good, sir.
All righty. All
All
right.
right.
Thanks again. As we close today, remember your future health isn't determined by one workout, one meal, one doctor's appointment. It's shaped by the choices that you make every day, week after week, year after year. The good news is that you don't have to become a marathon runner. You don't have to spend hours in the gym. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to start moving. Take a walk, climb the stairs, park a little further away. As Paige said, find that thing that you enjoy doing. Maybe it's walking the dog, but going on a little longer walk than usual. Pick up those weights that are gathering dust over in the corner. Just commit to doing something today. And if you do, your future self will definitely thank you for it. Now, if this conversation has helped you, we ask you again to please like and share it, subscribe so you're alerted to future episodes. And you can also visit our website, ifyouaremybrothers.org, to learn more about our documentary, which is a part of this. Of course, our podcast, which you're watching or listening to right now, and our community engagement work. You can go to our website if you would like us to come out to your health fair, or if you'd like to speak for us to speak to a group and share the documentary and that kind of thing. You can sign up and get more information at our website. You can also reach out to me directly and Reggie at ifyouaremybrothers.org. That is the email address that you can reach out, Reggie at ifyouaremybrothers.org. Now, If You Are My Brothers is dedicated to turning prostate cancer awareness into health action. And we're a project of the nonprofit 501c3 organization Straight Street Media. And as we had in the beginning of this, you can also support us. And I think Danny's going to put that up on the screen. Thank you, Thank you, Danny. You can make a contribution, which is tax deductible, by the way. And again, there are many ways that you can do that. You can scan the QR code that's there. You can also go to our website, ifyou'remybrothers.org/donate. And you can even use old snail mail, mail us a check. The P.O. box is there as well. And you can get in touch with us. Our phone number's there. So there are a number of ways to reach out, and we hope to hear from you soon. And remember that when you do make that contribution, you see me as I sip my tea, and it is tea, by the way, that's in here. This is the If You Are My Brother's mug, which we have for you when you make your contribution. This is our way of saying thank you for investing in what we do. And we also want to thank Atlanta Brand Central for providing our mugs for us. And special thanks to Danny Garcia Pozo. Sorry about that, Danny. Danny's like pulling his hair out. I said, man, you can get my name right. But Danny's our producer, and he makes all of this happen. And also Zach Reynolds at Borkhouse Productions for our opening that you see each and every episode. Now, we want to remind you that this podcast is not a substitute for your medical advice. You want to always talk and speak with your healthcare provider. Throughout the month, we've been having the men's health series. We've talked about getting your annual physical. We've talked about protecting your heart, embracing a healthier lifestyle, and now putting your body in motion. Knowledge is important, but knowledge without action changes nothing. That's why we want to always tell you that you want to take health awareness, get the information, and turn that into health action. Because the goal isn't simply to live longer. The goal is to live stronger and healthier with the people you love for as long as possible. So make sure that you share this series with others. And remember that if you are my brothers, you would definitely share this message. And as always, we want to remind you that we are in this fight with you together. So take care, stay healthy, keep the faith. See you next time. Peace.